Today, we are joined by David Talbot from WorkMovr, one of Caspio's premier and longest tenured partners. We're also delighted to welcome one of our mutual customers, Paul Hall from Healthier Pets. Welcome to both of you, and thank you for joining Caspio's podcast. David, can I please ask you to introduce yourself and share with everyone a little bit about your background?
Okay, my name is David Talbot. I'm in San Diego, and I'm the founder of WorkMovr. We've been a certified Caspio development partner for 8 years, and we only work on Caspio projects. We have 30 developers, and our main development center is in Armenia. And we do hundreds of hours of Caspio programming every week.
Sounds good. Paul, can you share a little bit about yourself?
Yes, we're a client. My name is Paul Hall, and I'm with Healthier Pets. We're a client communication system that serves the veterinary hospitals and clinics across the country. And we help them communicate with their pet owner clients to let them know that their pets are due for services.
Well, thank you both for taking your time today. So let's delve into WorkMovr first. So David, how did you first get into low code?
Well, it was interesting. It was about 9 years ago. I was asked to develop a video streaming application, and using traditional methods of that time, it looked like it was going to be a $2 million project. But I just bumped into Caspio by pure chance. I hired a freelancer from Craigslist, and the two of us put together the application in 3 months. At that moment, I switched the whole company to Caspio.
Amazing. So what are the type of customers that you're working with today in the industries where you specialize, David?
We don't really have a industry specific. What we do is more Caspio functionality, Caspio connectivity, documents, messaging, application development. And so our customers are in healthcare, agriculture, logistics, and whatever, but they all have the same facilities, which is sort of customers, documents, messaging, all that sort of stuff. And we already have the code for that.
Yeah, I know from being responsible for the post-sales team here at Caspio is that we have a lot of mutual happy customers that work with you. So thank you for all the good work you do with those customers. So Paul, from your side then, please share with everyone a little bit about Healthier Pets for those that are not aware of the company.
So Healthier Pets was formed in 2014 under a different name, but still the same functionality. And my background had been in other industries doing personalized one-to-one communication with customers, because if you can talk to a customer about their needs and preferences and their purchase patterns, it's going to be more relevant for them. So I had done that with in travel, hospitality, Northwest Airlines, Delta Airlines, Intercontinental Hotels, AAA. And what we found out is that there was going to be a change in the printing technology industry where we were going to be able to make that same personalized communication possible to medium and smaller organizations. So we looked at various industries that might be able to leverage that capability, the full color graphics and content that varies for each individual person. And we found that veterinary was going to be the best fit for us. So we teamed up with a couple of folks out of the veterinary industry and came to market, looked at what communication was being done at that point in time and still is being done in a lot of circles. And we realized we could really significantly improve the client communication effectiveness in the industry.
Thank you for sharing that, Paul. So how did you first connect with David?
We were trying to take a set of data that we had built for the reminder communication that we create. And we wanted to be able to access that information for practices and then for the pet owners to be able to get in and see that information, not just receive whatever reminder they got, but to be able to look up that information, inquire a little bit more, get a little more background, what visits that they had, and so forth and so on. And so we're trying to find a way of doing the application development that was going to be relatively easy, was going to be able to take an existing set of data, pick out certain fields, lay it out in a certain format. And I thought there's got to be a way out of taking that capability or bringing that capability that doesn't require a lot of Java programming and, in-depth, high advanced development skills. How can we do this in an easy fashion? So we looked at various alternatives, and it looked to us as if Caspio was going to be the greatest fit for that. So I attempted to do some initial work on my own with Caspio, got it fairly far down the road, but realized we probably need somebody that could help us on the more advanced work. And so we reached out to David and his team, and it was clear that it was going to be a great marriage there. So they have a lot of capabilities. They've got an established framework that we could start with that answered a lot of our fundamental questions and fundamental needs, and it's been an excellent working relationship ever since.
Yeah. David, I know you obviously work with a lot of different customers from different industries, like you just explained. So when you initially had the conversation with Paul, did you think, yeah, we can build and kind of create what Paul's looking to achieve? And how was the project? How did that kind of develop?
Well, remember, by the time we'd met up with Paul, we'd had several years of consistent success with Caspio projects. And a lot of what we did with Paul required connectivity. And Caspio has sort of super connectivity. And when we looked at what he needed to do, we could see that that was within the capability of Caspio. And so there really was not a lot of discussion. We said, we can take our framework and your data and put the two together, and I'm sure it'll work out. And it did.
Yeah. Well, Paul, you've been a customer of Caspio for 6 years. So what brought you to Low Code in the first place?
I think the fact that we could easily ramp up a project that had relatively straightforward requirements and get it up and running, and then add additional functionality, the connectivity that David talked about, the way of integrating the information in the tables that we were working with and presenting them in a very user-friendly fashion. And so it looked like Low Code was going to be the best way to do that and not have to take on a lot of expense and be able to develop in a fairly rapid fashion, an easy, quick way to prototype and then bring up a full system. So.
Yeah. Did you have actually any hesitations before you started to move forward with the projects? Obviously, I've seen the application, it looks great, and I can't wait for you to share that with everybody later. But did you have any hesitations?
Well, let's talk about the difference between the two projects that we were working on. Originally, we were doing established kind of Caspio tables and views and that sort of thing, inquiries, and kind of almost like a portal of information that was in a list format, more of a list format. We didn't really have any trepidation on that side. We were trying to do, I guess I have to confess, I'm a bit of innovator. So I tried to figure out certain capabilities that were not immediately obvious to me. So I was a little bit apprehensive of, can I do this myself? And decided that it was best to get some expert help in that. The second project was a little bit different. We were trying to take that initial portal and make it a full-fledged app. And so we were looking in various places for app development skills and that sort of thing. It only came up in the course of a conversation with David of gosh, we could probably build this app right on the Caspio backbone that you've already got there and make it really accessible. And so there was a little bit of apprehension about the cost involved and how many development hours and so forth and so on. But we quickly got by that because it was obvious it was going to be a much easier solution than if we tried to go the traditional app development path. So.
Yeah. So for everyone that's listening, Paul, please share with everyone a little bit about the application, the mobile app. What does it look like, and who are the main users?
Would you like me to do a screen share? Would that be helpful?
Great. Yeah, let's show that to everybody.
All right, fantastic. So what I'll do is I'll share my screen.
Remember, this is an app that is downloadable from like the App Store and Google Play.
So the basic work that we do is trying to communicate with pet owners that their pets are needing additional services. And the way that we do this, and have done this for years, is with postcards, email, and text reminders. And so when you look at a postcard, for example, you see a breed-specific photo, you see the brand of the hospital or clinic that we're communicating on behalf of. We see their brand colors, the preventive care plan that they recommend. And then on the back of the card, it shows a thumbnail headshot of that particular pet or a breed-specific example. There's a customized letter from the practice. And here's a list of the things that Charlie is due for. So Charlie has some vaccinations coming up, a test that is needed, so forth and so on. And so this is our established kind of communication practice, and we were doing that prior to forming an application for it. That same information shows up inside of an email as well. And again, the same information is displayed there. And then the text reminder just has some links that take people into additional detail that you can't really have the room to display in a text reminder. What was interesting for us is we wanted the ability for a pet owner to be able to go directly from one of their reminders with one click and get into their app or portal to see all the health information for that pet and actually all of the pets that they have with the practice, see their medical records, see the visits that they had, see their lab reports and so forth. And we wanted to be able to connect up these two components because in the industry today, apps and portals are not connected up with reminder communication. So David and his team were able to help us identify ways of being able to connect those two. And if I could just briefly illustrate, what happens is you pull up a reminder and then you click in on one of these links. And what happens is it opens up your app or portal directly onto a computer. And now it's cycling through all the pets that you have with the practice. There might be pictures that you've uploaded. You get to see all of the pets you have with that practice. And then if you go to your alerts section, you're going to see the most pressing items. But you can get med refills. You can request an appointment. You can see your medical records. You can see pet ID. You can go to the emergency centers that the practice recommends. You see any promotional message that the practice wants to promote. You can even get Google GPS directions to go straight to the clinic when you're interested in taking your pet in for service. So the most pressing information is shown up in the alerts area, and this is on a wide screen. Let me show you what it looks like on a phone view because that's the same look and feel. So if we back up here, the same look and feel that you've got on the computer is just a narrower screen on the phone. So it works on a phone, on a tablet, whatever device you're on, it's easy to get into. And again, you'll notice there wasn't a download, there wasn't an install required, and there wasn't a login that was involved. It's all in that secure code, one click, and they're immediately into their pet information. So when they go in to get their alerts information, they see the appointments that are coming up, any tests or vaccines that are due in the next few weeks. They can request an appointment. They fill in their first, second, and third choice of when they want to bring their pet in and what services they're needing. They can see all of the pets that they have with the clinic. And then if they click in on one of those, they see the full medical records for that particular pet, the appointments that are due, the services that are coming up in the next few weeks, but in a complete list of all the vaccines, tests, and services that are on file to be done for that particular pet and the date that they're going to be due next. Then we also do a comparison to say, okay, this is what this pet is set up for. Is there other preventive care that the practice strongly recommends that should be listed for the pet owner as also recommended? And those items are listed here to encourage the pet owners to get the additional preventive care that's most essential. They can also see the visits that this particular pet has had and coming into the practice, the hospital or the clinic. They can also see the lab results. Here are some panels that have been run, and if they click in on one of those, they can see the individual test measurements. They can also see medications that have been prescribed, and I think Charlie does not have any, but I think Samson does. Yes, here's prescription dog food, but also trazodone and Remedil, and they can choose those items and request a refill of those items right here from the screen. They can see the number of refills that are left and the date that the prescription is going to expire. Then in addition to that, we produce what we call a health checklist, which is a full list of the preventive care plan that the practice recommends for their pets. So whatever pet they have with the practice, they can choose that pet and then see what the practice considers for recommended preventive care for dogs, what they consider to be essential care, what they consider to be advised care, and other care. So they then can see that full list. We do a pet-by-pet audit of Charlie's records or whichever pet they've selected, and we show for that pet, what is that pet already set up for? Which of the essential care items is Charlie already set up for? And you can see that Charlie's already set up for 4 of the 5 items that the practice considers to be essential, but Charlie needs a heartworm test. And there are some other items, the flea and tick protection, the heartworm protection. They can click on those items, scroll to the bottom, and request those services. But they also are given an overall view of what the preventive care plan is. And if they have any questions about any of these, they can click in on this question mark and actually get to see a listing of the explanation of what heartworms are about, why you want to test and prevent them, and why it's important to the health of the pets. So there's ongoing client education. You don't have to wait till you get into the clinic to get this education about what the importance of these individual items. You can actually see that information between visits by pulling up your app. We're also hopeful to turn that into a video so that there is a vet actually explaining each one of these items, a much more engaging format. And then finally, there's a pet ID that's built in. So if you need to go to a boarding or grooming facility, they're going to ask you for a verification that this particular pet, whatever pet you choose, is up to date on their vaccines. So this is an easy way that they can pull this up. It's got the date of birth, the weight, the breed, other information, information about the pet owner. They can share this with a boarding or grooming facility and let them know that Charlie is in fact current on his vaccines. The last thing that is important for us is that this technology that David has given us has the ability to actually embed other applications. This is the connectivity that he was talking about. When you open up the tools section, there are a lot of other capabilities or applications that the practice makes available to its pet owners. And those are now available right here in one place. Their online store, their social media, their review page, pet information library, new patient forms, care credit, scratch pay, which are ways of financing the healthcare if there's an unusual healthcare need that is beyond the resources of the practice. They can get some financial help. There's insurance plans, mobility, weight management, pet DNA records, telehealth. All of these applications are now available in one place. And that's unusual for a pet owner to be able to get to everything kind of in one place. So I hope that gives you an overview of kind of the application that pet owners are making available to, or that they're finding available to use in interacting with their practice.
Paul, I think it's super smart. And David, I think it's an amazing piece of work your team have been doing on this. Like we were talking before we started the podcast, I've got 2 French bulldogs, and to have this would be great for me. One of them needs regular medication, so I have to call the veterinarian up to have the repeat prescription. And also when the vaccinations are due, I get a generic postcard that comes through the mail. If that was tailored to my particular dog, maybe with an image like you were showing there, I'm probably going to make the appointment pretty quick. But be able to do the repeat prescriptions all on the mobile app and then punch out to different areas as well, like you're showing with the connectivities, I think it's an amazing piece of work, this. And I think it's a lot of veterinarians are going to really value this in so many ways.
Well, and what we found by doing testing is we compared our solution, especially the reminder side, but also the app and the portal side, to what solutions the practice was using before we got there. And we did that with several practices and found that we were increasing patient compliance. In other words, patients getting the services that they needed by 15 to 20%. Wow. That was also increasing the reminder revenue for the practice by 15 to 20%. So it has had a dramatic impact because it just makes things a lot easier for the pet owner.
Yeah. Paul, have you received feedback directly from customers or through the veterinarians about how this is being received?
Yes, the veterinarians are extremely pleased by the application, because what they're finding is their pet owners are coming into the practice and talking about how easy it is to get their information now. They don't have to call the front desk to try to put a additional workload on the staff in order to get their basic information. They love the ability to upload a photo and have their own pet's photo kind of in the application. So there's a lot more engagement and enthusiasm, and they're raving to the practices, and the practices in turn are talking with us about how much they appreciate the solution. So it's been a good situation all around. Win-win-win.
No, great. And you mentioned that development kind of enhancement, you're potentially going to add videos in there as well. How do you see it kind of evolving over the next couple of years, the actual application?
Well, most of the capability that we need is already in the application itself. The videos are an example, however, of additional connectivity. That tools area that I talked about, when we connect up with other applications, there's API interfaces and some other things that can easily kind of be factored into that connectivity. And David's team will be able to help us with that. I think the next step that we've got for the practice is being able to show them some analytic tools about the results that their practice is getting. We're sending some of those reports out right now by email. We're generating some of that ourselves. We're doing marketing programs for the practice. We want to be able to put some simple tools in front of them that let them pull up that information at will and be able to launch some of their own marketing programs just as easily as their pet owners are getting into the pet information. So that's probably our next development over the next couple of years. And right now, the work that we're focused on at the moment is getting other practices to take a look at this solution and realize that it's running circles around the competitive products that they're working with. We significantly outperform all the other products in the marketplace, but we do need additional visibility so that practices know we exist.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. And David, your team, as I said, have created an amazing mobile application here. So can you walk us through the development of the app?
Yeah, certainly. What we do, we consider that mobile apps are an extension, a user interface extension of Caspio. So Caspio remains the system of record, and we use Caspio connectivity to go directly to the phone. And we use another language called Ionic on the phone, which gives you, and that runs on both iPhones and Android phones. But every time you do something on the phone, it immediately is updated into Caspio.
Did you find any challenges through development, David, or was it quite straightforward?
There's always little challenges with computer programming, but we were already very experienced with the Caspio REST APIs, and so it wasn't really that difficult.
Okay, well, both of you, thank you so much for sharing. Is there any learnings that you think that the listener should really walk away from going, actually, that's an aha moment, and that would really help you if you're considering low code?
David, do you want to take this?
Yeah, I think sometimes our customers underestimate the capability of Caspio. Caspio, we've been doing this for 9 years, right? And we've never run into something where we couldn't extend Caspio to do something that was more intricate, complicated, or exotic. And so I think sometimes our Caspio customers are being a little bit more conservative than they need to be.
And from my perspective, I would say that my learning was that a company that wants to develop an app, they should have second thoughts about trying to do that through traditional methods when they can so easily plug into a low-code background like Caspio and fully put full functionality of an app sitting on top of a Caspio foundation. And I think they're going to find that it's easier to come to market, and they're going to end up with a more robust solution in the long run.
Thank you both for sharing that. So David, if listeners are wanting to connect with WorkMovr, how can they best connect with you?
Well, we have a website, and that has our contact details, also has our product catalog, because we have a lot of pre-written code that we share with the Caspio family. And also we have a YouTube channel.
Great. And we'll put the contact details on the end of this podcast as well. And the same for you, Paul. How can people connect with Healthier Pets?
Our website is www.healthier-pets.com. And we try to do a pretty good job of showing off David's work and capabilities. You can actually get a demo of the system right there on the website, because again, the technology that they've used can be easily deployed into a website. So.
Well, thank you both for joining today's podcast. Paul, for being a customer for 6 years, David, for being a Premier Partner now for 9 years, coming up for 10 years. And thank you for sharing your low-code journey. I think the listeners are going to find this of great interest. So thank you for your time. We really appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.